With the final map of Black Ops 6 Zombies out, Reckoning, I thought it would be fun to give my conclusive ranking on every special enemy in the game from worst to best. Now while I don't have a very specific metric for this ranking, I'm going off of pure feeling, while still analyzing things like difficulty, annoyance, and just how they fit into the game as a whole. I'll also note I'm not counting enemy cameos on maps if they're not a part of the main rotation, such as the Amalgams on Shattered Veil or the Mangler and Disciple on Reckoning. If at any point you find yourself enjoying this video, a like, comment, and subscribe are always appreciated, but without further ado, this is my ranking for every special enemy in Black Ops 6 Zombies. At number 11 in dead last comes the Doppelgast. Now I'll be honest, when the Doppelgast was first introduced, I was actually quite a fan. The quick movement and low health made for quite a unique enemy. The character design is also quite strong, even if it may bear a strong resemblance to the Amalgam. But the more maps that the Doppelgast appeared on really stomped on the unique aspect of its appearance in Citadel. It actually fit quite nicely there, but the same cannot be said for the rest of the maps. And whether it's on your ass with super sprinters or shooting its hallucinogenic needles at you, I now find myself more annoyed with the Doppelgast than anything. At number 10, we have the Shock Mimic. I know, how is this above the Doppelgast, especially when we've already had the Mimic before? Well, simply put, the Shock Mimic stands out because it's only featured on the Tomb, and while the Mimic is a returning mob from previous games, the electricity covering it adds a bit of extra flavor compared to its previous counterparts. Not to mention it also has such little health that any problems it gives you are short-lived. At number 9, we have the Parasites. Another returning enemy, of course, featured in Shadows of Evil and Revelations, returns on every map in Black Ops 6 except for Liberty Falls. And while I do respect bringing them back, I feel like they should have stayed on Terminus or even Citadel, but no more than that. They do pose an interesting threat of forcing you to aim up away from the rest of the zombies, but their spit attack is absolutely brutal on your health regen. They are low health, which helps, but I'd rather they'd have stayed behind in Black Ops 6's launch window going forward. At number 8, we have the Vermin. A brand new addition to Black Ops 6, these spider-like creatures are the main max ammo round enemies of the game and are sprinkled periodically into every map by a certain round. And while these do mimic the Hellhound's low health, their speed is heavily reduced. And you would think this makes them easier to take care of, and by and large that is the case, but if one or two of these sneak up on you in the middle of a round, they deal very decent damage towards you and could be the reason for many of your downs. All in all though, they're less annoying than their flying counterparts. At number 7, we have the Manglers. I know, another returning enemy, but we're almost past them. The Mangler has gone through many different facelifts over the years, but are functionally the same in all of their iterations. Shambling speed, arm cannon, and a pep in its step once you pop it off. These things were such a meme when the game first launched before the spawn cap was adjusted. These things were absolute menaces. When you got 3 or 4 locking onto you from spots you can't even keep track of and all fire at the same time, you are done for. But thanks to the spawn adjustment, these are much more welcome enemies. I like the idea of the lock-on cannon, just only a couple at a time. At number 6, the Abomination. What can I say? These Margwa-like beasts are quite formidable if you're not well equipped. The massive damage reduction you get shooting at its body forces you to only attack at specific intervals while one of its 3 mouths are open. And while this is a returning enemy, something about its presence actually keeps me on my toes while I'm juggling all the other tasks at hand on Liberty Falls. And while I do appreciate it only having a singular map appearance, my only gripe is that we've seen it before. At number 5, the Commando Klaus. A brand new addition to BO6 and only featuring in the final map, Reckoning, these guys are kind of a pain, but in a fair way. With almost no health, these guys are taken down fairly easy by almost any weapon, but if you're not careful, these guys will rapidly swarm you, and if they get close enough, they will self-detonate, sending your health bar down significantly. It's not uncommon to find yourself red screened after only a couple of these guys go off on you. Not to mention the red mist and sirens that fill the map. It actually makes the rounds feel like a lockdown security protocol is taking place, and it's kind of creepy. These guys fit the map perfectly, and I'll say it, these are what Hellhounds wish they were. At number 4, the toxic zombies. I had a really hard time placing these guys above the Commando class, but something about their running animation, sound effects, and more notably their toxic AoE that lingers for a period of time, I found these guys to be ever so slightly more of a pain than the Commando class, but in a fair way as well. You have to plan ahead when you're maneuvering as you take these guys down, or else your train will swallow its own tail and leave you walking through their radiated trail. They also fit their map quite nicely, as their neon green look goes well with the magic science aesthetic of Shattered Veil. Very good enemy. At number 3, I'm gonna have to give it to the Amalgam. I know, the Amalgam's pull attack is absolutely disgusting. It can grab you from seemingly nowhere, dealing massive damage and launching you back into the train you were just running from. But the combo of strong attacks, beefy health, and quick pace makes the Amalgam one of the more powerful boss enemies we've faced thus far, and that is a compliment. As soon as you spot one of these guys, you either lock in or let out a groan, because you know if you aren't careful, this guy could end your run in a moment's notice. I love an enemy that keeps me on my toes, but is still reliably killable given the right strategy. I'm an Amalgam fan. Grab your torches. At number 2, perhaps the enemy that surprised me most in Black Ops 6, the Elder Disciple. This guy spat on my expectations. I thought the Elder Disciple, like its younger counterpart, would simply be a beefier version of the same life-stealing, groan-inducing menace we'd seen before. But this Elder guy really had a trick up its sleeve. Instead of simply sapping your health, this guy would utilize the game's evolution system and rapidly speed that process up. As I'm sure you know, in Black Ops 6, there is an evolutionary chain that can take place. Over time, a vermin may become a parasite to a doppelgast, and a doppelgast to an amalgam. And while amalgams don't naturally spawn on Shattered Veil, the Elder Disciple left unchecked can make that nightmare a reality. This elite enemy is best taken care of swiftly, or else its power can quickly turn a horde out of control. If you're noticing a theme, I like enemies you can't ignore. And perhaps the hardest enemy to ignore, the culmination of all the things I love in an enemy, my number 1 special enemy of Black Ops 6 is, of course, the Uberklaus. This mechanical beast is such a force to be reckoned with. I'm sorry, okay, he's strong. But yes, the Uberklaus is tanky, the Uberklaus is powerful, the Uberklaus is fast. The damn Uberklaus has 2 phases. He freaking dies, or so you think, and then he's like, and pops out all little and flying and starts shooting you again. It's really a fun battle every time one shows up, and its purple AoEs it launches at you are insane. If you don't move after a second, you are toast. And if he doesn't get you with that, he launches himself into you, locks on, and fires his fist at you. It fits the map perfectly. The alarm sounding as he enters gives him a strong presence, and he is the best enemy in Black Ops 6 Zombies. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree with my ranking? And if not, comment down below and let me know yours. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter at AQDevi, and a like, comment, and subscribe are always appreciated. But until then, I've been AQDevi, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.